Hey everyone, welcome to Political Radar Echo, 30 minutes of political talk about current topics with panelists from a variety of viewpoints. I'm your host, Cassandra, and this is episode number 1. This is Political Radar Echo with Cassandra, where we cover many political issues affecting our country with a panel of guests from many viewpoints. So, a little information about me, your new host for the show. My history is I'm a K-12 educator. I've worked both full-time with my own classroom and more recently as a substitute teacher. I've always been interested in politics. I can even remember my own parents taking me to vote when I was really little, when you had to pull the lever down to register your vote. I became more involved in our local political scene. And this really made me realize how important it is that everyone feels that they're heard, that everyone has a voice. I think one of the biggest issues that we face as a nation is we're not listening to each other. So I think the divide between political views has just gotten wider and wider. So I'm really hoping that this show can bring people together with varying viewpoints. We can learn from each other. We may not come away in agreement, but we can put a face to an issue. Not just a name on the computer screen, and we can gain some information and move ahead as a nation. So let's get started. My panelists today are Mark Becker and Dan Jones. Mark, would you like to do a quick introduction?
Sure. Mark Becker. I am a Brown County Supervisor, former chairman of the Brown County Republican Party, and that's that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Dan?
Oh, I am the founder and CEO of Newsmakers Network, which operates Political Radar, and also the founder and CEO of ReleaseWire, which is an online news distribution service. So I'm kind of a serial entrepreneur.
Awesome. All right. So to start off, we're going to take a trip back in time, a simpler time. I want you to think back to December 2015. You were both on a different podcast.
That's how we met.
That's right.
That was the first time we got to know each other. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
You both made predictions.
Oh, boy.
I was a little off.
You told us who you were supporting and who you thought was going to win the presidential election. So let's start with...
What you're about to do is my whole political credibility is going to go right down the trash.
But
I made some pretty bold statements.
I want to know what you think you said and what you think about, in retrospect. And like I said, it was a simpler time, Mark.
It was.
It was a simpler time.
Well, it was. It was a simpler time for the Democrats. It was not a simpler time for the Republicans because we had 14 or
450
candidates.
Right.
So I think I said that Donald Trump will never become president.
You did.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that happened.
Who was your favorite?
My favorite was definitely John Kasich. I mean, it was Scott Walker, then it was John Kasich.
Oh, interesting. Who did you think was most electable?
Ooh, Rubio.
You are correct on that answer.
Yeah.
You win. Your favorite, actually, at the time was also Mark Rubio.
Oh, okay. Well, it was a long campaign, and as it played out, it was John Kasich was the adult in the room. Rubio kind of with his little hands comment, and he got a little crazy there at the end.
Okay.
Yikes.
Yikes.
Right.
Yikes. No bueno.
A lot happened after December.
It was really hard to keep track of the Republican Party at that point. I mean,
telling me.
The kids' table, I remember we had a big discussion about how much I hated that idea, but I understood that there were so many of them, but I just hated the fact that, you had two groups. So these are the ones you should be paying attention to, and these are the guys also.
Like the Huckabees and Santorums of the world?
Yes.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
It was such a crazy process.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have Trump.
Well,
seriously.
I think that's part of it, yes.
I saw on my Facebook time feed today, that was 1 year ago from today, where Donald Trump was saying, what Rubio and those guys don't understand is that I have millions and millions of more votes than them. And I think I made a point, and it was a year ago, so I'm sure people, go on to and you can see it. But I said that what he doesn't understand is that more people voted against him in that primary than people that voted for him. It's just they couldn't coalesce on who to vote against other than Trump. And so that's a big point to remember, is that
Right.
I mean, up until there was like Donald Trump and John Kasich and Ted Cruz, I don't think he got over 50% in like any of the primaries.
And if you look at the numbers, it's really clear that Rubio and Cruz split the vote.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, the numbers just totally showed if either one of them had dropped out, either one, we would not have had Trump. That's absolutely true.
Yeah, I agree. All right.
All right. So my predictions at the time, I think I said I was leaning towards Bernie Sanders for support. I'm pretty sure. And I think I said Hillary would win.
You did 100%. You said
I was so wrong.
that Hillary. It is Hillary Clinton 100%.
Yeah. I really truly believed that there was no way she wasn't going to win, and I'm so amazed at how bad it was. And obviously, I blame the whole process with the Republican Party, but I really blame Hillary Clinton and the Democratic Party for what happened. I think primaries got us our problem on the Republican side, but the Democratic Party did a horrible job, and Hillary Clinton did a horrible job, and she deserved to lose. I just wished it wasn't to Trump.
I believed Hillary Clinton was going to win up until about 9:15 on election night.
Right?
And it's so
And I kept watching, going, I can't.
What the hell is
this
happening?
This can't be happening.
Right.
And finally,
I couldn't believe it.
I turned it off. I was so frustrated. I just turned it off. I said, what world are we living in right now?
If my brother John is watching this, like I remember he started sending me frantic texts. Oh my God, what's happening? Oh my God,
Oh, yeah, I know. I
split
can't
it.
even imagine. Yeah, I was driving my daughter home. I carpool with some people, and I was driving kids around, and I'm in the front seat like, don't cry,
Right?
don't cry. This isn't happening.
Too, though, I also blame Jill Stein, because there was in Wisconsin, wasn't the difference like 28,000 or something, and there was 30,000 people voted for Jill Stein.
That's an easy answer. The answer is Hillary did not come to Wisconsin.
Well,
she did one visit here. How do you run a national campaign and not go to a swing state?
Ask Mitt Romney. He didn't come to Wisconsin.
He didn't win, did he?
He didn't win.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah, right.
I mean, how do you do that? How do you think that makes sense? These people do this for a living. It's not like they shouldn't know better.
I think if Hillary had shown up, she could have probably drawn some of those voters, but I'm really not into blaming third parties for what happened in the election. I mean, I think a lot of those third party voters are going to vote third party.
It's like if you do a
change.
It's like Packer analogy, blaming Brandon Bostic for the Seahawks, because he fumbled that onside kick.
Right.
When there was like 16 other things that they could have done better. Yeah, I suppose.
Yes, I agree. Always bring it back to the Packers.
That's right. Yeah. Go Pack.
All right. All right. So let's move on from predictions. That was fun.
That was
one way to start. It was fun for me. All right. So when I messaged Mark and asked him to be on the show, I'm super excited that he...
What an honor, though, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you. So something that stood out to me when you messaged me back, I'm going to quote you. Mm-hmm. You said, "I've always been outspoken about political parties and the need to put politics aside to do the people's work." Can you go into...
It's got me into trouble sometimes.
Can you go into detail? You were the chairman of the Brown County Republican Party.
Yes.
So how does that look? How do both the Republicans and the Democrats, how do they do this?
Like how do they?
Yeah.
I don't think they do.
Well, I think what it is, here we go again. It's a lot of tone deafness on both sides.
Okay.
It's a lot of understanding that, like the issue that I apparently blew up the world with the letter that I wrote, regarding the GOP's social positions, and especially same-sex marriage and all that stuff. Taking that issue, the Republican Party is so behind the times. They don't listen to to the will of the people. They don't listen to, you know, the winds of change that are blowing. Well, damn it, not on me. They're not, you know.
Okay.
And so what it is just a lot of political posturing, and they're so afraid of making a switch in. Okay, we're for this. Well, now, okay, well, the society has changed, so now we're going to change. They don't want to do that. And so it kind of handcuffs them. And I guarantee it, and I've been saying this for years and years and years, 90 whatever % of Americans are fiscally conservative. I guarantee it, because you have to be. If you have to be fiscally conservative to run your family. You have to be fiscally conservative to, you know, not file bankruptcy or pay your bills or all those different types of things. You have to be that way. But in the same sense, a huge majority of people are, I would say, socially a little bit liberal in regards to same-sex marriage. Who cares? You know, how if you go to church on Sunday, every Sunday you go to church and you pass a gay couple on the street, does that affect you really? No, absolutely not. Does it affect you if they're married or if they're just dating? No, there's in no way, shape, or form does that affect you at all. But the Republican Party continues to push and push and push and push.
Right. Something I don't understand about that is I often feel like the Republican Party is all about liberty and freedom and personal freedom, but with the
Not in that
same-sex
sense.
marriage, that
Right,
but you can't marry who you.
Well, and I've always said there's a conservative argument to that. You know, it's conservative. The conservatives want, and I consider myself conservative. I want government to stay out of my life. Don't tell me what to do.
Okay.
So what is the most intrusive thing that you can tell someone to do or not to do is marry the person that you love. There is a conservative argument to say, hey, stay out of their bedrooms. If it's two consenting adults and they want to get married, who cares?
But if you go back to the George Bush years with Ken Melman, it was a strategic process to put a lot of the marriage amendments and anti-gay marriage provisions on ballots. And the reason was stated after the fact that this will get conservative voters to the polls. And ironically, Ken Melman later apologized and came out as being gay.
You know, I'll take you back into, we went back in time. I'm going to take you back in time too, where it was the first debate between John McCain and Barack Obama. And the question of gay marriage came up.
Mm-hmm.
And Barack Obama, so John McCain answered, well, I believe marriage is between a man and a woman.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
Barack Obama said, hey, John, look at that. We finally agree on something.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So,
Right.
you know, look at the George Bush area. Like, I mean, those are days gone by. That's not, it doesn't.
I think the point I was making, though, is a lot of times
Yeah.
they use social issues that as a way to drive engagement.
Yes.
You know, it's
Right.
honestly, it's good marketing. It's really good marketing if you're a marketing person like I am, to find the emotional connection and use
Right.
it to drive involvement.
Well, and
Right.
I have a marketing degree too, so I guess going back to what is this? It's political marketing. That's
Right.
that's what politics is. Doesn't really. It's not.
Great way to put
You
it.
know, looking at what people actually want. It's looking at what
Okay. So what you're saying
keeps
is,
you in power, I guess.
when we're looking at just the Republican side, you think they need to evolve
Yes,
a bit more with the times, with the social issues, and basically stay out of people's lives in that sense.
If they would modify their social positions and stick with what makes them really good, because nobody can talk budgets like conservatives. I love Bernie Sanders, but I mean his ideas were so freaking whacked out there, man. and so nobody can put into perspective what.
I think on the wax scale, honestly, if you're really going to go with that.
Right. Do you want to go there?
No, well, no, not with. Well, no, because I can't defend the current. I can't defend Trump.
I mean,
I'm not here to do that.
Let's talk about a wall here.
I think honestly, Trump has made everything Sanders has said just seem intelligent across the board.
And then you look at too. I was looking at this morning as well. Like I was kind of, I don't know, if it's a sick sense of humor, but all these people that I remember all about Trump, 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 Trump. Well, there was this one lady on Facebook this morning that posted this thing. I swear to God, if Trump doesn't, because right now there's like this down payment on his stupid wall,
Right.
that has to go, and they're like, if he caves on that, it's like, well, okay, he's caved on day one. I'm gonna make China a currency manipulator. What happened there?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Right.
I'm going to repeal and replace Obamacare. How'd that
Right.
go?
Right.
I'm going to tear up the Iran deal. Really? We are going to exit NAFTA. Uh-huh.
Right.
So you look at promise after promise after promise that has fallen.
But he has a
It's
unique
on the list.
ability to say, hey, my first 100 days were perfect. I mean,
Although he is saying, I really tried to read that AP interview.
yeah.
It was really hard.
was scary.
But he's also saying now the 100 days is an artificial mark.
Of
It's
course.
not. It's not. Like, you look at.
That's what he's going to say because he didn't. live
Right,
up to
because
anything
he
was
wasn't
supposed
able
do.
to deliver on the things that he said he was going to do.
And I think it's funny because the reason he's going to fail on a lot of things, take aside the executive order because he loves them right now. But
Well, so did Obama, though.
no, look at the numbers. Come on. Trump's on a pace.
He's
way
on a pace. That's one thing. Obama loved the executive order, too. So,
Well, we can't.
you look at pace. Well,
We'll have to look at the
pace
end of the
after
4 years and then
right?
decide.
Right.
But
We'll table that one because
Right.
that one we.
But I think the problem Trump didn't
compare.
expect is he assumed that every Republican's going to go right along with him on everything, and they're not because
Right.
the Republican Party has some serious separation.
He's toxic.
Yeah, yeah, and what
Okay.
what half the Republican Party wants is not what the other half wants, and I've often said that it needs to split into two because there really is a big difference in personality.
All right.
I've had
So
conversations with like pretty big name people that have said the exact same thing that the
Absolutely.
Republican Party needs to.
And
Right.
if it's split in
Dissolve them.
two, I may actually support one of those. Even
Hey, you know what? This is, dude. Damn it! This is what I'm saying. If they split and they go into something that or they modify it, fiscally conservative with a social conscience. Holy crap!
I know a lot of people.
You
who
want
would-
to talk about a juggernaut? What
Right.
God.
So my question then is, okay, so we've talked about the Republican side. What about the Democrats? What do they need to do to put politics aside to get the people's work done? What do the Democrats?
If you
need
look
to do?
at the Obama years, Congress basically stopped almost everything, and everyone says, "Oh, the Affordable Care Act got pushed through." If you look at the Affordable Care Act, it's nothing like what Obama originally proposed. And I would say that the things that didn't happen are what caused the balance to be so poor. And, I'm an employer. I pay a lot for health insurance. I can tell you the system's so broken. And what the ACA fixed, it also left many areas broken. But so many other things, the Republicans just didn't do anything. They just blocked everything. They made sure they were the least productive. If you go by number of laws passed, which I'm not sure that that's necessarily productive passing.
No, definitely not.
But they were the least productive, the least active Congress in history. And I would submit that it worked for them. It made it appear as if Obama was weak, which I think he was in many cases. When George Bush was president, he would walk in the room and say, "This is what we're doing." And, you're going to do it. When Obama would walk in the room, he'd say, "Well, this is what I'd like to do, but what would you like to do?" And he actually thought that they were negotiating with him. They weren't. They had no reason to.
I don't know. I mean, we'll take it back to the marketing thing. I mean, there was nobody in the history of presidential election and politics in general. There's nobody in the history of politics that did what Barack Obama did. He got people out of the woodwork to vote for him the first time around. He made voting a fad, for God's sakes. It was
Absolutely.
cool.
There were people lined up for hours.
So you take that guy, and then we take the least productive Congress in the history. He was good at making something bigger than it was or smaller than what he. So regardless of productivity or whatever, he can sit back in a corner and say, "That wasn't my fault." When it kind of was. So
do you know what the second least productive Congress was?
Based on what though?
Number of bills passed. Again, I already clarified that. I'm not sure
I don't know.
but that's what everyone goes on.
Okay.
But the second least productive Congress was when Bill Clinton was in office and the Republicans got control of Congress.
Yeah, but the difference was Bill Clinton worked with Newt Gingrich. They
still,
like met every month.
They were the least productive up until the current.
I definitely wouldn't judge Congress's productivity on the number of laws passed. I mean, we need to take a breath for a second. You know, seriously.
It is the matrix that has been used for
some people.
No, I get that.
I've also heard people say, though, that government is meant to work slow, that it shouldn't go fast, and that maybe having two different parties in is
I guess
better.
The point I'm making, though, is when you have a Republican president and a Democratic Congress, things still get done. And whether that's a good thing or bad, I'm not saying, but I think Republicans have been very good at saying no.
Yeah, but I have a lot of friends that are in DC. I have friends that were in Congress at the time, and that was on both sides of the aisle. Republicans couldn't walk into a Democrat office and say, "Hey, let's work on something." They couldn't do that.
Right.
Nancy Pelosi had cracked the flipping whip on those guys. Where the two leaders of the parties, they didn't meet, they didn't talk about, hey, what are we going to do?
What is the most famous quote that was said by a Republican during that time?
You have to pass the bill to see what's in it. Oh wait, no.
Oh, that was a good one, but I know what he's referring to. We discussed it, and I actually looked it up. Do you remember what Mitch McConnell said? I believe it was
about the
we're going to do everything we can to make Obama a one-term president.
Yeah, well, and that's what the look. But that's gonna happen. That happened. I'm sure the Democrats said that about George W. Bush. I'm sure that they're saying that about Donald Trump. We said that about Obama. I went back to Clinton and Reagan, and
And honestly, I looked at the context of that interview. I looked it up last night, and within context, if you just take that line, it sounds bad. But if you put it in the context of the interview, it's actually not as bad as what it
But
sounded like.
I think that's what they really meant, and I think that they did it, and I think they did it effectively. And they were rewarded by doing so. I mean, let's be realistic here. By being as aggressive as they were at fighting Obama, they were rewarded by huge numbers. Now, part of that is gerrymandering. Part of that is, bad candidates on the Democratic side, which I don't see changing anytime soon, by the way. And, overall, they were rewarded. They now have control of everything. In many states, they have control of all houses of government.
Well, and I think you look at, they can't get out of their own way, and they're afraid of their shadow in Washington. They said we have to get Congress. Well, we got Congress. Well, we got to get the Senate. Well, they got the Senate. Well, we got to get the presidency. Well, everybody hates him, so no one wants to do anything. Right. So it's kind of,
I want to ask your opinion just on the same topic, but I actually got an email. I'm signed up for emails from Mike Gallagher, who is our local representative, and he went through all of the things he did in the first 100 days. And I'm curious, you talk about them putting politics aside. He has not done a single town hall meeting. A lot of them are not doing town hall meetings. What's your thoughts on that?
Okay. I have a lot of thoughts on these. A town hall... It's not a town hall meeting when a Democrat organization will say, hey, we're having a meeting. Do you want to come, Mike Gallagher? That's not a freaking town hall meeting. And that's what, all these news stations would say, oh, well, they skipped out on a town hall meeting. No, they didn't.
Okay, but then just organize your own.
Well, which is fine. But what I'm saying is that's not a town hall meeting. Okay. And how, number one, that's not a town hall meeting. Number two, not many, he's the first 100 days of office, not many historically people that have just been elected, they don't do that. They'll do town hall meetings when they're on recess, when they come back for like a Christmas break or in the summertime. That's when it happens. Yeah. They're the busiest right now.
Yeah, and Congress allegedly is actually on recess right now, I believe, because he actually, I'm going to give Gallagher credit on this. He made a speech before going on recess, and he implored them to stay and do their jobs, because apparently when they come back, they'll have 3 days to figure out how to keep the government from shutting down.
Absolutely.
So I I want to
Mike
give
Gallagher is
him.
awesome. I
give him a lot of
Yep.
credit for standing up and saying that. I watched his speech. He had it posted on YouTube. So
I think, though, it really is important that our representatives meet with the people, whether they agree with you or not. And I'm not suggesting that you have to go into some, opposition party thing, but then you organize your own and organize it, and let just general people go.
Well, yeah, and
I'm going to go back real quick to the healthcare time. I remember they did a town hall about healthcare, and I was standing on the street. Yeah, it was Kagan. And buses and buses and buses of people were driving by my house, which is right, on the way to the library. And it was one of the Republican groups that were busing people in for it. And these were people who were just going from town to town to town to be the opposition.
So that's exactly. So you're criticizing that of what the Republicans did to Kagan.
No, I'm saying have a town hall, but don't let people get bussed in. Find some way of making
How
sure.
are you going to do that, though?
They have to be your constituents then.
I mean,
but how do you?
yeah, but then,
There's got to
do
be some
that.
way.
then, so let's say Mike Gallagher does that. Then they're going to say, oh, well, Mike was kicking constituents. He was kicking people out of the door. You can't do that.
I would be really quick to say I don't want people being bussed in here from any organization. And I would say the people who I want to talk to are the people I represent.
I get it. But then you know what's going to happen? Political marketing. There's going to be people with a video camera, and they're going to say, look at this jackass Mike Gallagher that was kicking people out of his town hall meeting. Look at how untransparent he is.
Well, maybe we'll be able to get Mike in here and he can talk to us
He's
about
awesome,
that.
man.
I would love
We
to
have
have him.
actually had him on our other show, and we've asked him repetitively to come back on, and he has not.
Okay, well,
So,
here's your invite,
I think-
Representative
We would love to
Gallagher.
have him back
I
on.
think he did respond, and
Good,
I'm going to
good.
defend him because, and a lot of these elected officials, once they get in office, they don't have control over their calendars. They don't have control, and some of the staff are not as awesome as like Reed Ribble had, who was super responsive. And
Well,
so
we would love
they're
to
new.
have him on.
They're getting
Yeah.
it figured out. So
We would absolutely love to have him on.
I'll pass the message along.
Awesome. So we do need to wrap up.
What?
Yeah, I know. So final thoughts
Oh
from
my
either of
God.
you. Final thoughts.
I'm amazed at how little we covered.
Yeah,
I
we
know.
did not. I have a whole other topic that I wanted to cover. So
What is it?
Maybe we can speed do it.
yeah, I
All
wanted.
right, let's
okay,
let's try.
I wanted to
Speed round.
talk about Bill O'Reilly.
Oh, my
Oh,
goodness.
God.
Yes.
Okay, I know. Yeah, you said that.
Yes,
All right,
Bill
keep
O'Reilly.
All right. So Bill O'Reilly has been accused of sexual harassment. Fox News has settled multiple times. It's been a common thing. Fox News has a problem with Roger Ailes settling multiple times, finally letting him go. And now Sean Hannity has been accused of sexual harassment as well.
I didn't see that.
Yep. So there's obviously a problem there. And, what I find fascinating about that, overwhelmingly, the comments on any story about it is it's a liberal conspiracy to get rid of conservative viewpoints. I've seen that same, sentiment over and over and over. And I'm going to say it's not a liberal anything. It's a business thing. When advertisers pull out of any business that's job is to make money, they're going to react. And unfortunately, that's probably the only time they're going to react. You can have a total sleazeball staying around for years if the company's making millions. When that money's gone, then they'll take action. And that's kind of the state of pretty much any media organization. That's why I think independent media like us is so important.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my view.
Yeah.
Was that quick enough?
Sexual harassment's never cool. So
Absolutely.
I mean, if it's
My thought
unacceptable.
my thought is it's fascinating that the Republicans often sell themselves as the family values party, and
Yeah.
Right.
this is
But I think it's more about people in power. And I'm sure there are people who are on the liberal side that do that kind of crap.
Anthony Weiner.
Yep. Well, absolutely.
I don't think it's a party thing.
No, I
It's a
don't.
power
I think it's a
thing.
people in
Right.
power thing,
Yeah.
and I think it's an
Yeah, I agree.
entitlement because they feel that they're above reproach, especially when they know that the advertising money is coming in and they're safe.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I think Fox News and any other organization should have a point where they let someone go no matter how much money they're making.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All
Do
right.
the right thing.
Yep.
Sometimes it's hard.
All right. Unfortunately, we have to wrap up here. I really hope both of you come back on.
Yeah, this was fun. That was
Definitely definitely want to have both of you back on. So that ends Political Radar Echo, episode 1. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
So,
real quick before we end, I want to take a quick moment to welcome you to the Newsmakers family. I mean, this is your first show, and I can tell you that the entire staff at Newsmakers is just so excited about having you on board. I talk to the team all the time, and they are just thrilled. And I'm so looking forward to what you're going to be doing here. And
I'm excited. It's a whole new thing for me, so I hope everyone's willing to watch me learn and grow. And
I'm in.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
And thanks so much for coming. So for show notes, go to politicalradarecho.com/1. If you're watching this episode on YouTube, like, subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell to get notifications. For more great political content, check out Political Radar Pulse. Rhonda is awesome. If you would like to support the show, you can like it on Facebook and join the Political Radar Echo community group on Facebook. Always a good time. And you can buy shirts and other merchandise at politicalradar.com/shop.
Hey, Political Radar Echo community, keep being nice, okay? Or Political Radar community, be nice to each other.
Absolutely. Be nice to each other.
Be nice. Yes.
Right.
All right. Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching Political Radar Echo. To ensure that you'll never miss an episode, subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. To check out more episodes of Political Radar Echo, visit politicalradarecho.com or connect with us on Facebook or Twitter.